This is Andy Pearl of Boxing Social in association with Betfred. I'm joined by WBO Super Middleweight World Champion and former WBO Middleweight World Champion Billy Joe Saunders and the rest of his team. Billy Joe, how are you doing?
Doing very good, mate. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you, very good. A few antics going on. I don't know if you want to try to introduce me to the rest of your team and who's in and around you at the minute.
This is Mr. Tom C. Watt / Dylan.
Then opposite him,
This is too fast, too furious, too slick, too absolutely atrocious. Everything going for him. Lee the champ. Second course, Greg.
Reeves.
Whoa.
Reeves.
and then finally opposite yourself.
And this is just a fella we know. It just, this is the beast in shape. Just show him the muscles, Greg. Just show him the muscles. The muscles. Watch this. Look at that. This is the man. This is the man that makes everything happen. Greg Marriott. Dietitian. He's my nutritionist.
Fancy yourself as a commentator in the end there, Bill.
Maybe so, but I like to keep the people that Matchroom's got working with them in contact and in jobs.
Obviously, we're out here in sunny LA. You said to me earlier you arrived on Sunday, was it?
We arrived, today is Tuesday, we arrived Sunday. This is the second day here.
How are you finding your time stateside so far?
The plan was objectively to get here. The plan was to get here 3 weeks before to adjust, climatise, but we had a few hiccups along the way. So look, I'm here a week before, 6 days before. It is what it is. We've got to get on with it, do a job professionally, mentally, physically, correctly, win.
Obviously, I know you've just said that you was looking to come out 3 weeks early. Whenever I do speak to fighters when it's a matter of coming to America or the other way around, they say you should leave at least 2 weeks to acclimatise, like you've said. How much of an impact do you think that may be come Saturday?
Listen, I'm not going to sit here and say, I feel shit or that, but obviously we feel tired of catching up with us, but I'm not really looking at that to play a part in my performance. If it does, it does, but you won't be hearing me saying, fucking... It is what it is, I'm fit, well, ready to rock and roll. So, like I say, you get on with it. I'm adjusting each day by an hour, so hopefully time fight night shouldn't really affect me, I hope.
Now, talk to me about your opponent for Saturday night, Marcelo Corceres. I know you said to me earlier you don't really know much about him, but from what you may have been told or what you have seen, what do you know about him?
I don't know much about anybody I boxed. I just have a quick brief look at them, 30 seconds, see what they're about. I'll say this on every interview I'll get asked, I'll just see are they a fighter, box fighter, or a boxer. He likes old descent of the ring, so I like to adjust and adapt to make him feel uncomfortable. So that's the plan. But look, 28-0, 15 knockouts, 1 draw, not been beat, don't know what it's like to lose. And the biggest fight of his life, could change his life. I'm expecting the best that anybody could bring, so I will be ready.
Your first fight on the Matchroom banner under the zone as well. Is that bringing any added pressure for you to maybe perform, especially on the back of Canelo's victory over Sergey Kovalev this past weekend?
No, look, they're on their track, I'm on my track. I'm just happy to be here, part of it. It's my Matchroom debut, my US debut. So it doesn't bring pressure, it brings excitement. I'm excited to be here. I'm not pressured to be here. I'm excited to be here.
Now, obviously you've teamed back up with Dominic Ingle. Is it just for this camp? What are your plans maybe looking beyond or forwards? I don't actually know whether it is a longer term arrangement.
Oh look, you've got to train where you're happy, where you need to be. Obviously, Ben's got a big fight in Wilder coming up, and I've got some big fights of my own. And at the minute I'm happy in the Ingle gym. So, like I say, it's not after the chop, change and go. But I don't look at Ben as chopping and changing. I work with him for many years. Brilliant trainer and helped. Trainer and coach, he's helped me along the way tenfold. He's added to my game, and so has Dominic Ingle. So, they're they're both good coaches and trainers. One's my mate, one's my trainer. So I'm happy where I'm at now.
What's the differences that you see in terms of a training perspective between Dominic and Ben?
A good question. I think that Dominic's got what he does really well. Ben's got what he does really well. The difference between the two, obviously, is experience, which that come with Ben. But Ben's very good. He's a very good technical coach. He's a very good technical fighter. He can put stuff across, sell your stuff very, very well, boxing wise. Dom's very, very good at the fitness side. Very good at getting your the awkward Ingle style. So they're pretty much similar in ways, So they're both very, very good coaches in themselves.
How did you find that initial transition back to the Ingle gym? I know you'd obviously known everyone from previous, but Carl Brooks since returned, obviously Kid Gallad's still there, still disappointed from the defeat to Josh Warrington. How have you found readjusting back into the Ingle gym?
I've got that sort of style, so it's not readjusting. It's just that I've got plenty of friends there, and it's nice just to be around people, surrounded around many people, not just isolated. Didn't find nothing difficult. Adjusted straight away. I don't need adjusting in that gym because it's my style.
Obviously, when you signed with Eddie, you said you wanted those big fights. You was after those big names. Coiceras, I'm sure you admit he isn't one of those names. What was your thoughts when he was put to you and when the fight was made?
Well, he's 28 and he's still got he's got one draw. So the problems with people like this, we don't know how he can raise his game. We don't know, what bar he can set. We don't know his limits. So they're always dangerous to come up against. So you've got to be very, very cautious and sceptical of people like this because they're in the dark. They're in the no one's heard of him. No one's really seen much of him. So before we know, it could be something spectacular. So I didn't look at him and think, oh no, it is what it is. There's no big names available. I mean, Golovkin were tied up. Derevyanchenko, Canelo obviously tied up. Danny Jacobs was scheduled to fight Chavez Jr. Andrade was just bumming about, acting a bum of what he does, talking shit. Don't really want to fight. And it's one of them fights that probably we could have made with Andrade, but I want that old belt. I want that old belt back. What I got as well. So let me get what I need to get here. Then I'll be coming back straight away for him. So really, he was the only one available, and he didn't want to fight.
Moving forwards, we've seen it with Callum Smith. He said he's on a fight-by-fight deal with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom. He was unhappy with his terms, got improved terms, and he's been promised this big fight at Anfield next year. Your name's been linked to him, Canelo's been linked to him, etc. If, say, you're in your own position and you aren't delivered a big fight in your next fight, it's kind of been a recurring story throughout your career. When does it maybe reach that point where you have to turn around again and say, when is this opportunity going to drop for me?
I think that it's only a matter of time with the platform I'm on at the moment. In my contract, I've got fight-by-fight deals with money guaranteed, so it don't financially suit Matchroom and Eddie Hearn not to pay me, or not to shall I say, not pay me, not make the big fights because they're paying me anyway. So it works out for them to make these big fights, and I'm sure they will. But look, I'm not looking past Saturday first. I have to deal with this fella, deal with him correctly, and the fight I would love is Callum Smith. I think that's a unification. It's a big fight for everyone, for the fans, whether it's at Arsenal Football Ground or Anfield. It'd be a good night.
Obviously, also on the undercard, we have Devin Haney, who was recently elevated to WBC World Champion. What are your thoughts on the WBC's decision to make a franchise champion, which both Vasyl Lomachenko and Canelo Alvarez are?
I'm not a fan of all that. It's not a real title. It's like Canelo saying he's a super middleweight world champion. He was never a super middleweight world champion because he didn't win the full title. So it's like me winning the WBO Intercontinental, beating someone in the top 10, the top 5, and going, I'm WBO World Champion. It's a load of rubbish and bollocks. It's all for a money sanctioning fee, isn't it? So it is what it is. I suppose the WBC's out of pocket where they lick Canelo's arse so much.
Now, on the headline fight itself on Saturday, a lot of criticism from the boxing world. Ksi-Logan Paul 2. What are your thoughts on it, especially now we're here in LA?
Listen, I think that they've got a right in themselves to be here because they've put themselves here. No one ain't gone, we're going to find 2 bums on the street and put them in there. You know, these fellas are YouTubers, they're not fighters, they're not boxers, but they're earning a good living and they've made this opportunity themselves, no one else. So, you know, you've got to respect them and good luck to them.
How do you yourself feel as a 2-weight world champion boxing on the undercard of 2 YouTubers?
Myself, I feel very happy, getting millions of pounds in LA, you know, enjoying life, going to go back, have a nice Christmas, chill, get ready and hopefully headline my own show in the UK sometime.
It's kind of made me very jealously listening to that then, Bill. Moving forwards, obviously I know earlier you mentioned you'd love like the Callum Smith fight next. He goes in with John Ryder in his mandatory defence. Just what is your thoughts on that fight?
I think Callum Smith's the favourite. I think I'd like to see John Ryder's not as fleet-footed and as slick as what you got to be of a big man like that. You can't meet him head on, but like I say, Tony Sims is a good trainer, so he might have come. Well, you know, we've seen him come up with many game plans before. So let's hope he's come up with a good game plan for this fight, for John Ryder's sake, and I think it's going to be a good fight.
Obviously, you mentioned you'd like that fight with Callum. Just how do you feel like you'd compare with him with regard, or try and deal with that weight and that size? Everybody's always mentioned it with Callum, how big he is at the weight. Do you feel he's as big as what people mentioned? Do you feel you'd be able to comfortably deal with his body on the night?
Look, Andy Lee's like a light heavyweight at middleweight, you know. He's generally like a light heavyweight. When I weighed in against Andy Lee, it looked like he was 2 stone heavier than me. 6'2", you know, big thing again. It's one of them that I'm not really bothered about size. To me, the size will play a factor in a favour in my half. A lot of people will see it differently, but you know I don't. The old saying is a good big man will always beat a good small man, but not in this situation. And I proved it wrong many times. I don't care about the size. We both got to weigh 12 stone on the day, and we both got to obviously come up with a game plan to beat each other. And at this level of boxing, it's not about bullying. And it's about fucking strength. It's about, you know, who's the cleverest, outfox, outbox. It's about all of that. So you've got to put all that into perspective. And personally, myself, I've boxed at an higher level than Callum Smith.
Eddie's mentioned that Anfield fight for Callum next year. Your name has been thrown about him. Has he mentioned anything to you about fighting Callum at Anfield?
Listen, with Callum Smith, he's mentioned it, but it's not a fight that's in my contract. It's not a fight that's in my Callum is in my contract. Callum is in there, so yeah, I put him in there. So he is. Yeah, he's mentioned it. I was thinking about another fight. I was thinking about Danny Jacobs. I don't know why though. He's not, because that was a fight that I asked for. Super middleweight, good fight, both of us. So I'm sure that can be made, me and Danny Jacobs. But Callum Smith is in there. He's mentioned it. Like I say, the money's got to be right for both of us. But more importantly, it's going to be a unification fight.
When you say he's in your contract, I take it you mean you've maybe mentioned 3 or 4 names to Eddie and he said he has to maybe deliver them to you during your time with Matchroom.
He certainly do have to deliver them, yeah.
What would be the complications if he wasn't to deliver those fights?
There's no complications. Look, I've got a good management team, MTK. I've got, you know, I've got myself, Eddie Earn. You know, we get on well. We can always negotiate something else elsewhere, but there's got to be an alternative, and you know, it's in his contract beneficial to him to deliver them fights, because you know, whoever I pick is still going to be around the same sort of sum. So yeah.
If you could map out the perfect year for yourself next year, 3 fights, who would it be?
Look, I'm not one of these to map them out because it is what it is. I look at myself as the best. So whoever they bring, they bring. Hopefully, you know, I can hopefully get Canelo, Golovkin, Callum Smith. That would be my ideal.
And obviously, one name that continues to be linked to yourself and cropped up, somebody who you've already beaten as a professional, Chris Eubank Jr. Firstly, he's going to be facing Matt Korobov. What are your thoughts on that fight?
I just think he's an audacious bum who generally can't box to save his life. And I think, you know, if Matt Korobov's got anything about him, which I don't know, he likes a beer, he'll beat him. But, you know, it is what it is with him. He's under his dad's wing. That's all I've got to say about him. Like I say, I see some sort of shit he were talking about that I need him or something.
This past weekend, as I mentioned, Sergey Kovalev lost his WBO World Light Heavyweight title to Canelo. What was your thoughts on the fight?
I didn't watch it. I see the stoppage. You know, I heard a lot of people say that it was a 50-50 fight. Rounds were close, but you still can't take away the fact that Canelo got the job done by stopping him. But I think that's got a lot to do with the weight clauses they put on people. I think that there was a 10-pound weight clause on Kovalev. At what time in the morning was that?
I'm not sure what time, but I saw a few rumours, and again, I don't know if it was true, but there might have been one on the night of the fight as well. Was one rumour that I saw, as well as one in the morning.
Yeah, like I say, it's you know, obviously they overpaid him, but they went, look, forget that money, you've got to do this and that. See, with me, it's not about the money, and I think it needs to be made fair with everybody. Out of this fight, I may even move up to light heavyweight. Out of this fight and challenge him for his belt, because he's WBO light heavyweight champion, I'm WBO super middleweight champion, so if I move up straight away I get the mandatory spot. So I may even move up in weight because I'm struggling for weight at the moment, isn't I, Greg?
What weight do you think between yourself and Canelo would produce the best fight?
I don't care if we both got to make 10 stone. If we both got to make 11 stone, 12 stone, 13 stone, 14 stone, 15 stone, I don't care, as long as we both make that weight. And that don't only go for him, that goes with everybody. I want it to be firm and fair with all my fights. So, you know, as far as I'm concerned, you know, I think that he's a bit of a, I don't know when I say this, but he's always growing in shape, growing in size. So, you know, there's a few question marks around Canelo, aren't there? But as long as we're both the same weight and the same weight on the night of the fight, no problem. If I can put a pound on out of the way and he can put a pound on, let's fight, don't matter.
Well, Billy Joe, I know I've kept you for long enough. I know your team's basically eager for me to move so they can all go and do their own thing. Before I
review some of these. Lee Reeves, the next star coming out of Ireland. The next star. Put a camera on him. Asked him a couple of questions.
Come on then, Lee. Introduce yourself to the Boxing Social viewers.
My name is Lee Reeves, currently 5-0, 4 KOs, professional the last 10 months. On my way up in the world of boxing, around champions like this. So it's good that these guys here are recognising me so early in my career and respect me so early in my career. It just gives me that drive to work hard every time, you know.
What in particular do you look at for Billy Joe when you're in and around him?
What I look is how he deals with all these situations. I've seen in the last couple of weeks that a lot of guys would crumble when things aren't going right, or if anything's not going right, if the people around you aren't acting right. But this man just keeps his cool, just looks good, just keeps calm, cool, collected, and performs to his ability every single time. So just seeing how it's just everything's water off a duck's back and just the highest professionalism just shows me what I need to be aiming for when I'm coming to these big fights.
Billy Joe, word on Lee, what have you seen in him?
I think that he's got potential to go all the way. You know, you look, he had a good amateur background. You see him in the gym work and he picks up really, really well. First day on the pads, he was a bit like missing it, and then within 7 days, he was bam, 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 like, you know, rain off a roof. He was, and it takes a lot to someone a boxing brain to pick that up. So I know he's got a good boxing brain. I think that he's got the right people around him at the minute. If he continues doing what he's doing, I think he's going to go on to stardom.
Well, Billy Joe, we'll leave the final word with yourself. What would you like to say to everybody ahead of Saturday night?
tune in. I think I'll be on about 1:30 in the morning UK time. Got a couple of big announcements after, so watch it.
Any exclusives for us?
Yeah, I'm moving into the porn industry.
Champ is here.
Billy Joe, thank you for speaking to myself and Boxing Social.
Thank you very much.